Hello, everyone. It's the interview queen, Alicia Atout here, and it is an absolute pleasure to welcome you all to my interview with Pete Dunne. How are you?
Not bad, thanks. How are you?
Doing pretty well, all things considered. How are you kind of keeping your boredom at bay with everything going on right now, and how are you hanging in there?
Yeah, there's not a lot I can do really. I'm just enjoying time with the baby. She's like 18 months old now, so I don't usually get to spend this much time at home. So between that and training, I'm doing my best, but it's definitely a big difference to how my life's been the last 3 years.
Right. Has it been a little difficult to adjust to having more of this free time since it was so go, go, go for you? Or was it kind of nice to just think to yourself, oh, there's actually like an excuse to chill out for a little bit?
A bit of both, really. I like being busy. It's the most time I've had off since I was 12 years old. I've always wrestled at least once a week since I was that age, so it's a big adjustment. But at the same time, if there's ever a point in my life where it could have come, it's been good because the baby's at an age now where she's getting more fun and I can play and spend that quality time with her. So it's kind of 50-50.
Right. At least you're there to take those kinds of things in, and even some of the first moments start happening. So that's really lovely that you'll be able to actually be there for that kind of stuff. I know you're missing wrestling, I'm sure, a lot as well, though, at the same time.
Yeah, and I'm glad I'm back in the UK as well. Obviously, spending so long in the US over the last year, being able to have that break and come back and sort of settle back in here a little bit is good for, especially for the baby. Being able to interact a little bit with the grandparents and stuff like that has been good. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad things are going so well for you. Now, something that I want to bring up that's a little bit more on the cheeky side, but it stood out to me, was how the other day someone actually asked you which crisps are your favorite, and you simply replied, "This is harassment." So were there just too many for you to choose from, and you couldn't just buckle down to one?
No, I'm not giving that guy the answer. He's doing my head in. Every single post, he's underneath there saying, "What's your favourite crisp?" So I'm going to keep him guessing.
Is he really? Like, he comments on everything you post and just no
Yeah, it's
context?
genuine harassment. Every single post is the first guy underneath there. What's your favourite crisp?
Oh my gosh. See, I didn't know if it was just a one-off and you're like, oh, nope, I can't choose one. There are too many. But I had no idea that you actually meant like genuine harassment.
Yeah, I don't pay that much attention to Twitter. I probably should pay a bit more attention, to be honest. And even I've seen multiple times this guy's underneath there asking me what my favourite crisps are. So he's going to keep guessing. He's never getting an answer.
Right, just guessing for eternity. Leave him, put him in his place, right? Now, something that always comes to mind for me whenever a wrestler talks about snacks or food would be cheat meals. So do you have a go-to meal or something you truly crave when training is done or you're taking an off day from all of that?
I try and avoid the sort of cheat meal type culture, to be honest. Since I changed my diet to go fully plant based a few years ago now, I've just really focused on being as healthy as I possibly can. I've learned to enjoy coming up with different recipes and um, different types of meals and stuff like that. They're healthy and they're going to optimize performance and health, but at the same time they're enjoyable. So I don't like that typical almost bodybuilding culture of eat as clean as you can and then one day a week just
Right.
go as hard as you can. So yeah, that sort of thing isn't really for me. But since going vegan, I've tried so many different meals and different foods that I've learned to really enjoy.
Is that something you're taking part in too with this time in quarantine, like cooking more and learning how to cook more vegan meals?
Yeah, I'm in the best shape I've ever been in because I'm not on the road. I've
Right.
been able to train so consistently. Rest and sleep is the biggest one. Having an actual routine for the first time in my adult life really has allowed me to drop a whole bunch of weight and be in the best shape. So it's another reason I can't wait to get back to it. To be honest, I feel like I'm fully recovered, not injured, not banged up. I've been lucky on the side of things in terms of having a major injury. I've never needed surgery or anything like that, touch wood. But you get wear and tear and you get banged up. But I'm the freshest I've been, and my diet's been on point and training's been on point. So I'm excited to get back.
That's amazing. You're going to come back better than ever.
I hope so. Yeah.
A lot has been going on during WWE NXT, especially the brewing bromance we've been seeing between Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher. And you actually shared a photograph of the two of them and simply wrote faction. So how antsy are you to get back and join the two of them?
Yeah, I've been keeping a keen eye on it, especially with what Matt's doing. And I'm glad that now he's got the call up to not the main roster. I don't know what the correct wording is these days, but he's got the call up to SmackDown. I know that's something that he's really wanted, so I'm really happy for him. And it was great to see the fight pit match and all that kind of stuff. Interesting concept. I'd love to have been a part of it, and hopefully one day maybe me and Thatcher can get in there together, or if I ever go over to SmackDown or Matt comes back to NXT, maybe me and him could go at it in the fight pit too. But yeah, it was an exciting time being a part of that tag team, and it was something completely different, completely fresh, and I'm glad I got to be a part of it. But it's a shame we never really got to finish it off and defend the titles a few more times, or maybe even go up against each other at some point.
Of course. And I know even about a year ago, you had mentioned in an interview how a dream match of yours would have been to work with Riddle and how you'd love to just work with him within NXT. So how surreal was it when that actually came to fruition and you realized not only do you get to work with him a lot more than you did when you were on the indies together, but that you actually had such great chemistry when you were in the ring?
Well, he's someone I'd worked with a fair bit on the independents before that. And whenever you get to be in there with somebody that, even if you don't know him so well, but you've worked with him on the independents, there's kind of a bond there already. A lot of those guys have similar styles and have a lot of fun working together. So he was on that list of people I'd want to be in there with and get to put on singles matches against. But we did a few sort of house show tours. And amidst that, occasionally we'd be put together as a team. And we started to realise quite fast, this works. So when the Dusty Classic rolled around, I was excited to see that me and him were pitched together. And but even for us, we didn't think it would gel the way it did. We knew we'd work together while in the ring, but obviously putting together those vignettes and all the backstage stuff that we did really connected with the audience. So it's something completely different for me. My career is kind of defined by that UK title run, which is all these big, long singles matches. So being able to do something that was more comical in places, and then even just going out there at a takeover as part of a tag team instead. It's just something refreshing, something new, and it was fun while it lasted. And hopefully one day we can recoup that and finish it off properly.
I hope so, because it actually looked like you were having so much genuine fun together. I know sometimes you can tell with people, they walk out there, they do their thing, then they go back. But you two just seem like you're having a blast together. Like it seems like you mentioned like refreshing. It's a breath of fresh air for you.
100%, and obviously with TV, there's always a bit more pressure, for lack of a better term, and there's always you're always a little more dialed in. But where we had the most fun was when we were out on the road with NXT, being able to be a part of that tag team. That was when the fun really shone through, and there's sort of my best experiences, especially since I've moved on from NXT UK and I've been a part of NXT in the States. The most enjoyable memories I have come from those live event tours that we've done, teaming up with Matt.
That's fantastic. And I mean, I have to ask you, how much do you love or hate the nickname Stallion Pete?
Matt's eccentric. He comes up with a lot of random stuff, and sometimes they stick and sometimes they don't. Unfortunately, that one stuck. But he's eccentric. He comes up with some funny stuff.
Is that one of the more bizarre nicknames you've had, whether through wrestling or even your childhood, or have you been given some other ones throughout your time?
I think the weirdest one is Kyle O'Reilly always calling me Peter Doom.
Peter Doom.
That one's particularly annoying.
Was that because when he first met you, he actually wasn't sure it was done, or is he just doing it to get under your skin?
It's definitely just trying to get under my skin, and it works, to be honest.
I was about to say, and it's definitely working. Well, one thing that's really cool for me is that I not only get to interview wrestlers like yourself, but also musicians. And I know that music is something that you definitely have a passion for. So if you could have any band write some entrance music for you, who would you love to see do so?
I don't know if it would fit, but there's a lad from Birmingham called JK, who's quite popular now, growing music over here. He'd be the first thought, just because there's not too many people that sort of make it out of Birmingham and go on to be successful in music or wrestling or whatever the entertainment genre that they're in. So he's the first name that comes to mind. I'm not quite sure it would fit Bruiserweight as a character or whatever, but he's the first name that springs to mind, purely because coming from a similar area and then making it out of Birmingham and going on to do whatever we are in our separate fields. I think that's cool.
Right, and with all of the traveling you do, are concerts something that you actually were able to attend over the last few years? Were you always a big concert goer, or has that not really been your thing?
When I was younger, I used to go to them a lot, but obviously with the way wrestling is, all the days where there's concerts are the days where I'm on the road, traveling and working myself. So over the last, I don't know, like maybe 6-7 years, not really at all.
Just now.
but yeah, when I was younger, for sure, yeah.
All right. Well, something that you had brought up prior was how you did have the 685 days as the longest reigning WWE UK champion. And having been a fan for so long and actually having started training at the age of 12, what kind of weight and significance did a record like that hold to you? I know you've mentioned a couple times how it is such an incredible feat to have under your belt, but just since you've been a fan of this since you were so young, I'm assuming the significance is even more so.
Yeah, I think from day one of it, you know, the episode of NXT UK that's going out tonight actually is all about the match with me and Tyler where I won the title. And something I went into a lot when I was being asked about that is how literally life-changing winning that title was, because, you know, going into that match, I was, as far as talent in wrestling goes now, there's not really much sort of overnight success. Even though there was 10 years in the bag before that, we were still relatively unknown until the tournament, and then a month or two later, whatever it was, going out there in Chicago. You know, we were both living with our parents. We're still so young and not new into wrestling, but at that young of an age, to be able to almost be an overnight success in that sense is so rare now that it was a massively life-changing moment. So to then say off the back of that first title win, which is special for anyone, but then to add that gravity to it, and then to say that it's the longest title run in the modern era.
It's huge.
You know, it has so much weight to it. You know what I mean? It's so important. And I think forever my career is going to be, you know, it's after something like that, it's what's next. And I'm always going to be chasing, trying to make for lack of a better term, a legacy off of something else. So that's why it was so cool to get in there with Riddle and do something that really is the opposite end of it. Even though the matches were still serious, we were having a lot of fun with it, which is a lot different to how I was presenting myself over that time. So it's going to be interesting to see how it develops from here. But obviously it holds a lot of weight and it was completely life-changing.
Well, I'm extremely excited to see what's next for you and what the future holds once everything kind of gets back to normal. So just thank you so much for taking the time and hopping on here.
No, thanks for having me.
It was an absolute pleasure. Everybody, this has been the awesome Pete Dunne. I'm the interview queen, Alicia Atout. Be sure to check out aliciaatout.com for all exclusive interviews and features, and we will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.